I stood at the front door of my childhood home, diploma in one hand, the other shaking slightly as I reached for the key still tucked in the bottom of my bag. The scent of fresh-cut grass and honeysuckle drifted through the air, a smell that used to mean summer, safety, belonging, but now it just made my stomach churn. College graduation had just ended 3 hours ago. I'd driven straight from the ceremony in my black gown, still stiff and crinkled, to this house, the house I thought I belonged to. My friends' families had been clapping and cheering, holding signs and bouquets. Mine hadn't even shown up. They said they couldn't make it. They said it was too far. They said, money's tight. They said, we'll celebrate when you get back. So there I was, walking into that house expecting at least a small dinner. A cake, a card, maybe a banner taped to the wall. Anything to show they'd remembered that I'd just earned the degree I'd busted my soul for. Staying up all night, juggling part-time jobs, passing up vacations, skipping sleep and skipping life just to get there. Instead, when I opened the door, I walked into the sound of clapping. For a moment, my heart fluttered. But it wasn't for me. It was for her, my sister, Betrayal. There she was in the center of the living room, in a pink sequin leotard, standing next to a giant trophy almost half her height. My parents, aunts, cousins, and even some neighbors I hadn't seen in years were all gathered around with cupcakes and cameras, cheering her on for first place in state dance nationals. No one turned to look at me. No one noticed the diploma nearly falling out of my hands. It was only when my mother glanced over her shoulder and said, "Oh, you're back. Be careful not to track in mud," that I realized I had just walked in on the wrong party. I didn't speak. I couldn't. I just stood there, holding that rolled-up paper with a gold ribbon, watching everyone fawn over Betrayal like she had won a Nobel Prize. She caught my eye once and offered a half smile, the kind of look you give a store clerk you don't want to talk to. I walked quietly to the hallway. The wall that used to hold every school photo, every cheesy picture day portrait, had been completely redone. Gone was the photo of me in my cap and gown from high school. Gone was the old shot of me with braces holding the 6th grade spelling bee trophy. Gone was the photo of me from junior year, standing next to the chemistry project that won regional. And in their place, a huge golden-framed display. One single spotlight. One giant, polished shelf. And on that shelf stood my sister's brand-new dance trophy with a tiny plaque that read, "State Champion, Betrayal Thompson." I blinked, trying to hold it in. But it wasn't just that. Where my college graduation photo was supposed to go, the very spot I had cleared with my mom just weeks before, there was a small nail in the wall. Hanging from it, a pink satin ribbon, one of Betrayal's backup costume ribbons. That was the moment I stopped blinking. I turned around, walked up the stairs, and closed the door to my old bedroom. Inside, my bed had been stripped. The walls were empty. My books and posters were gone. In their place, a folded pink air mattress and a pile of Betrayal's extra costumes. They'd turned my room into her dance dressing area. She had a whole separate bedroom downstairs. But somehow, she had taken mine too. I stared at the empty corners of my room, feeling the weight in my chest swell. My fingers clenched around the rolled-up diploma until it creased. I stayed silent that night. I didn't say a word during the after-party. I watched as my parents posted photos of Betrayal's biggest win yet online, with captions like, "Our shining star," and "Proud parent moment." There wasn't a single post about me. Not even a congrats grad. That night, when everyone went to bed, I did something I never thought I'd do. I took my diploma, my high school honors plaques, and every certificate and medal I had left in the attic and loaded them into the trunk of my car. Then I drove to the print shop downtown. I had them print a full-size canvas portrait, one of me in my graduation gown, smiling proudly, holding that very diploma. I picked a frame even bigger than Betrayal's trophy case. But I didn't bring it back to that house. Instead, I brought it to a place I knew they'd have to walk by, a place they couldn't ignore. And what I did next would make their jaws drop. I didn't sleep that night. My hands gripped the steering wheel until sunrise. I was parked just 2 blocks away from the new office building where my dad worked, the same building where he always hosted his Client Appreciation Day on Fridays. He was a senior partner at a mid-sized accounting firm. Every Friday, their lobby turned into a buzz of suits, pastries, catered coffee, and ego. And that lobby had one giant, freshly painted wall right behind the front desk, always kept empty for seasonal displays or holiday decorations. It had just enough space for a 40 by 60-inch portrait. I knew the receptionist, and I knew she hated my father. She was the one who'd whispered to me at 16, "You're too smart to let your dad shrink you." She let me in early before the guests arrived, coffee still brewing behind the counter. With help from a friendly maintenance worker, we mounted the canvas portrait right on that lobby wall. Centered, floodlit, glorious. There I was, in full cap and gown, smiling with confidence, holding the diploma they never showed up for. And just underneath, engraved on a custom brass plaque, the words, "The daughter you forgot." I left before the first client walked in. By 9:43 a.m., I had 3 missed calls. By 10:15, my mother texted, "What did you do?" And by 11 o'clock, my sister posted on her story, "Can't believe some people are so desperate for attention." That part stung a little, but not enough to undo what I was building, because I wasn't done yet. I drove to a local cafe near my college and opened the email I had drafted for months, a job application to a competitive international startup incubator in Boston. It was a long shot, but I had the grades, the portfolio, and now all the motivation in the world. By the time I hit send, I felt like I could breathe again. 2 weeks later, I got the call. They wanted to fly me out for an interview. 3 days after that, they offered me a full-time position plus housing. I was moving out and up. I didn't tell my parents, not when I started packing, not when I quietly sold off the storage unit where they dumped all my things, not when I officially changed the address on my voter registration. I just left a note on the front door, 3 words, "Moved, don't call." The following months were like learning to walk again, shaky, scary, but so full of freedom. My job was intense, but I poured my whole self into it. And for the first time, I was surrounded by people who saw me, who noticed when I did something amazing, who cared when I spoke. I didn't plan to speak to my parents again, not until I received an email from the board of directors. The firm my dad worked for had apparently gotten too much attention from the daughter portrait stunt. It had gone viral. Someone posted a TikTok with the caption, "This girl put her forgotten graduation photo in her dad's corporate office." And the plaque? Iconic. It racked up 1.2 million views. People started tagging the firm, commenting on their official business page, even leaving reviews. They only support winners if it comes with glitter. Careful, they might replace your raise with a ribbon. It wasn't long before the CEO personally reached out to me. He wanted to hear my side of the story, so I gave it to him. Raw, calm, and honest. I didn't ask for anyone to be fired, but 3 weeks later, my dad took early retirement. As for my mother, she tried to send an apology, a voicemail with trembling tones and half-sincere lines like, "We never meant to hurt you, we just thought Betrayal needed more support." I didn't respond, but I did finally hang something on the wall of my new apartment. It wasn't the portrait from the office. It was something better. My original high school graduation picture, the one they had taken down years ago. Underneath it, I added a sticky note with my handwriting in bold marker. Never again invisible. A few months after moving to Boston, my life was finally starting to feel like my own. I had joined a mentorship program for underrepresented graduates and was invited to speak at a student leadership conference. On stage, in front of hundreds of students, I shared my story, not out of bitterness, but as a lesson in self-worth and finding purpose outside validation. Then one evening, I received an email. Family watch party, Betrayal's National Dance Trophy reveal. No personal note, just a mass invitation. I knew what it meant, a reminder I wasn't included. A final dig cloaked as politeness, but this time, I didn't feel broken. I didn't feel anything. Instead, I posted a photo from the conference, me on stage, mid-speech, lights behind me, smiling. The caption, When they won't give you a seat, build your own platform. That post reached more people than I ever imagined. The comment section was filled with encouragement from strangers who saw themselves in my story. Later, my cousin messaged me. "They saw your post. Your mom went quiet. Your dad turned off the projector. The party just ended." I didn't reply. I had nothing left to say, but I did one thing. I mailed them a trophy, gold-painted plastic with a marble base, on the plaque, "For the ones who chose a trophy over a daughter." No note, no return address. And just like that, I was done. Their silence? This time, it didn't hurt.